नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवतनैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमृन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Sorry. So someone can share or let me see. Okay. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse number 11. Let's read the words from it. Okay. सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमिति उता। सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमिति उता। सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाशोपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वम् इति उता। Word to word. Sarvadvareshu, in all the gates, dehesmin, in this body, prakasha, the quality of illumination, upajayate, develops, gnanam, knowledge, yada, when, tada, at that time, vidyat, no, vivrudam, increased, sattvam, mode of goodness, iti uta, thus it is said. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Repeat. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are 9 gates in the body: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, the genitals, and the anus. When every gate is illuminated by the symptoms of goodness, it should be understood that one has developed a mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position, and one can taste things in the right position. One becomes cleansed inside and outside. In every gate, there is a development of the symptoms of happiness, and that is the position of goodness. We'll try to understand this verse, the context. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkrupatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Devatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhupevacha Pattanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। श्री रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। So let's understand the connection from the previous chapter 13, nature, enjoyer, and consciousness, to this chapter why Lord Krishna is speaking. Arjuna is not asking anything. And let's understand the context of this chapter, the first verse when he is beginning, and then understand the various sections of this chapter, and then we can look at this verse and understand what Lord Krishna is trying to teach us. So let's look at the connection. Why is Krishna speaking in this war, three modes of materialization suddenly? The last six chapters, as we know, so is also important. First six chapters predominantly from karma to nishkama karma, which leads on to gnana. That is the primary aspect. Then the middle six chapters talking about especially bhakti, which is the ultimate to attain the goal of the supreme abode, Vaikuntha. We must engage in bhakti process. It may be initially karma Mr. Bhakti, Jnana Mr. Bhakti, Yoga Mr. Bhakti, gradual leading to pure. That's why seventh chapter has those mixture of bhaktis. That's why there are four kinds of people surrendering to Supreme Lord with different desires. They are not pure devotees, but different desires. And then the last six chapters predominantly talking about now you understand the karma, you understand the bhakti, but then you still have the various lingering desires, unwanted desires, um, in the form of lust, anger, and greed. Three vidam narakasyedham. So three gates to hell, as Lord Krishna explains. There's so many anarthas in the heart. So how do you remove? That means it is coming from the three modes of material nature. So how does it work? So how did the creation happen? So all these aspects are being this. That's why in the last six chapters, Lord Krishna is speaking mainly on the three modes of material. Out of 700 plus verses, 730 or so, 100 verses or more, Lord Krishna is speaking on three modes of material nature. You can understand the importance of it. Without understanding three modes of material nature, we can't get out from this conditioned life. As it is explained, simple way to put it, as we all drive to work or drive somewhere, we always see the construction or some blockage, roadblock. So what we see there sometimes, they say they may, so they are temporary. Sorry for, please forgive us for temporary inconvenience. We are going to give you a permanent uh, improvement. But the material world is exactly opposite. It is just going to give temporary happiness. So temporary improvements, permanent anxieties, permanent inconveniences. Uh, so we can never get out of the anxiety, but all our duty is to transfer these material anxieties into spiritual anxieties, to take the responsibility of serving the Lord, taking the responsibility of doing austerities of waking early in the morning, taking responsibility to read and hear using that time. So this is the um, this may be inconvenience seeming externally, but that anxiety is being used to actually to serve the Lord. So that becomes spiritual anxiety. So that's why Lord Krishna has to stress in this chapter three modes of material nature in great detail. So why Krishna is speaking, what is the connection from 13th chapter, nature, enjoyer, and consciousness? Because to get detached from these three modes of material nature, first you have to understand the relationship between Prakriti and Jiva. So that's why starting with 13th chapter, Lord Krishna is starting from material nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. That is the first beginning knowledge. Then now you understand Prakriti, material manifestation. Then what exactly material nature consists of? There are three modes of material nature. That's why in the 13th chapter, especially the last verse, what Krishna is saying is one who understands who is the body, one who understands who is the knower of the body, one who understands the super soul, then he can be liberated. But if you look at 13.20, 22, 23, 24, three verses Krishna is speaking, how he can get liberated? One who understands the living Prakriti, material nature, and the Jiva, living entity, the soul, and three modes of material nature. Three modes of material nature. Then you can get liberated. So 22, 23, 24. Ye evam veti purusham prakritam cha gunai saha sarvata vartamanopi nasa bhuyo abhijayate. One who understands this philosophy concerning of the material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of material nature, is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth again, regardless of his present position. So that's why it is very important. And that's why the connection from this verse. And before that verse in 22 is explaining how living entity is enjoying. Purusha prakrutisto bhunte jay gunan karanam guna sangasya is clearly mentioning that guna sanga is the three modes. So that's why Krishna has to speak about it. If you want to be liberated, then there is no way. And that's why in 14th chapter of Krishna is mentioning this is the highest knowledge. Param pravakshami jnananam jnanamuttam. You just mentioned the most confidential knowledge is 9th chapter. Then why are you saying this 14th chapter is the most confidential knowledge or the highest truth? Jnananam jnanamuttam. Because of our conditioning. Is very, there are so many types of knowledge. One is the pure devotion service, how to attain the topmost platform. But if you don't know how to get out, that's why in each and most of the important books, there are two aspects. In the questions also. When the Parikshit Maharaj asking the question, he is asking the same, what to do, what not to do. When you look at nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction, the first aspects are mentioned. What is to be done, what is positive, means how you can attain Krishna, and that aspect is mentioned. But at the same time, what is negative, what you have to avoid. So that must be given because we are not at the spontaneous devotion service, pure devotion service. We are not attached to the positive aspect, the highest aspect, absolute truth, Supreme Lord's form or the holy name, because of inattention is there and ignorance is there. Inattention is caused by ignorance. Uh, so that's why this chapter is very important. That's why Krishna, when Krishna is speaking, he is speaking about Baladev Vidya Bhushan gives a nice analogy also there about this. Why Krishna is saying Dhananam Dhanamutam, where he is mentioning that. um, it is about extracting a fresh butter from a yogurt. And he is talking this is there are many kinds of knowledge. This knowledge specifically Jnana in terms of extricating the jiva and from this contamination of from the prakriti, three modes of material nature. That's why it's the Jnana. From that context of that type of knowledge, detachment, knowledge of detachment. So, so if I don't give this, then there is no way for you to get extricated. So from this conditioning. So that's why, in that sense, it is greatest knowledge. Lord Krishna is mentioning. Gnananam Gnanamtam. Now let's look at the and Prabhupada also in one of the pastime while walking. Prabhupada, every conversation, it's so important, so always very instructive. While walking, then he saw eyes, he stopped there and then he asked disciples, what is this? They didn't know what Prabhupada is trying to tell. So then Prabhupada said, eyes, you see the eyes? This is the abnormal condition. The original nature of it is water, liquidity, but now it is an abnormal condition. But what is telling is the jiva's condition is also in the same way. When the ice is very hot now, right now you need a sun to melt it into again back to water state, liquid state. Same way, your heart is so hard like ice because conditioned with three modes of material nature and anarthas. So that's why it is hard. It is very hard. You can't understand. You can't attain Krishna. So same way, just like the ice has to be melted by the sun, same way you need to take up the process of devotional service. Satam prasangat mama virya samvido bhavant hrit karna rasayam. Yas ajjoshanat apavarga vartamana shraddha bhakti ratir anukramisati. Only when you take in the association of devotees, use these Navarandhras, nine gates, we'll talk about it soon. The ear, you have to hear. That is the most important aspect. Satam Prasanga Mama Virya Samvido. From the great devotees, advanced devotees, you have those who have developed attachment for everything, the holy name, chanting, the hearing, the service, every aspect of it, so much attached for pleasure of Guru and Lord, not for their pleasure, not for the name and fame. They're only doing for their pleasure. So that's what we have to see. Then by hearing from them, then what will happen? It will act like a fire. It enters into the it. Otherwise, the ear holes are compared with bile, bilay, snake holes. The tongue is compared with frog, daduruke. This is in the second canto beginning. You'll see Parikshit Maharaj Sukadeva Goswami's question and answers in the first chapter itself. These descriptions or comparison is given. When the ears are not used for transcendental subject matter, when the tongue is not used for that, so you are reducing your time. You are inviting death. Like the frog is always croaking. It is inviting snake to eat. So that's what it is. That is the comparison given. So that's why you have to hear Pravista Karnarandrena Swanam Bhava Saroruham. Dunoti Samalam. As soon as it enters, the transcendental knowledge enters. But you must be in the right association. That's why you need to understand this chapter. What are the characters? You said this Karanam Gunasanga. What is these three modes? First, tell me about the characteristics. Now then, how the living entity first, in the first place came into this material world? What are the characteristics? That is the first aspect Lord Krishna is speaking. That is the first section, which is 1 to 9, first section. And then he is talking about how living entity is affected. It is like a prison house. Why did you, how did you come into the prison house? Then, so how are you entangled in this process? How you got locked up and affected now, affected by the prison house? And there also there are three. He has three modes. In prison house also there is a severe, just what is that? Completely you don't have anybody else. You are single cell and completely confined into a small and it's black room. That is a severe punishment. This is mode of ignorance. Somebody is mixed with, somebody has given enough space and mixed with other people. That is the first mode of goodness, you can say. That in the prison house also there are same way this material world is compared to the prison house. And in the middle passion means somebody has given some facilities, but not so much, not completely confinement, not at the same time, not full of facilities. In the middle, so in this way, the prison house. So that's why the 10 to 18, the next section is how a living entity is affected by these modes. How the modes are competing, which mode we are acting, which mode is actually in the works right now. So depending on the time and how we are acting, which mode is in the works, whether mode of goodness or passion or ignorance, and its characteristics. So these modes are competing within the individual and also in the society. We see when the king or the prime minister or chief minister or different people are acting weirdly. So then we know what is exactly is happening. So that is the second section, 10 to 18. Again, it has subsections giving characteristics and manifestation 11 to 13. And then you see, then when death happens, in which mode he died, he passed away, 14 to 15. Then what will happen? Death in modes. That Krishna is speaking. This is subsection to affected by the modes. First one is characteristics and manifestations, and the second one, 14 to 15, is death in modes. And then the last one is results of modes. What will be the result? If you are in mode of goodness and passion, that is 16 to 18. That is a subsection to the second section titled affected mother. Then the last section is 19 to 27. Now you understand the characteristics and the effects and various aspects. Then now, how do you get out? Lord Krishna has to give the solution. So that's why 19 to 27, Lord Krishna is speaking how to free from the modes, how to get out of this prison house. So that is the main aspects. Now, these are the various sections. Now let's understand this enjoyment. I had explained in a few other classes. In the daytime, we are enjoying with this gross body. And that's why it is in this verse also what you see. Nine aspects are mentioned. Sarva Dwarani, nine bandhas, nine holes, which are two ears, two nostrils, two eyes, six, there is a mouth, tongue, seven, anus, evacuating, and then genitals, nine. These nine, if you look at more closely, two are, five are, or seven are, or six, you say. Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas. Knowledge acquiring senses are ears, your eyes, your yeah, and no smell. So these three are knowledge acquiring, and then and then your karmendriyas, anus, genitals coming on karmendriyas, and the mouth also. If you say tongue, then it is again jnanendriyas. You are trying to taste. So the earth, water, fire, air, ether, these gross material elements. But then there are subtle elements: the taste, the form, the touch, the smell. All these are the subtle elements to that. So those are connected with these holes, these six or seven holes of Jnanendriyas, and the other ones are Karmendriyas. So both are related to the gross body. During the daytime, subtle body, we are not so attached to the subtle body. We are attached to the gross body. How I can get happiness using this gross body? When we are sleeping, we are trying to get enjoyment with a subtle body. Gross body is not in the picture. So sleeping, it is lying down in a dormant stage kind of thing. And subtle body is in the works. You get into dreams and various things. Mind in the false ego, subtle body is in the picture. So either way, the daytime or nighttime, both ways, you're not operating on the spirit soul platform. By affection of these three modes, gross body or subtle body, trying to enjoy either way, this way. So that mainly karmendriyas, mainly the jnanendriyas and some portion of karmendriyas. So that's why both all these indriyas must be illuminated. Then Krishna is speaking, this knowledge must be there. Nine gates must be illuminated with transcendental knowledge. Then say, then what is knowledge? Lord Krishna speaks about it. There are five types of knowledge. Prabhupada elaborates. There are five types of knowledge. First one is pratyaksha. What you see is what you believe. That is pratyaksha. Then paroksha. What you hear from the authorities. So that is paroksha. Then aparoksha. Then after hearing it, you have to do something. This is aparoksha. Pratyaksha, Paroksha, Aparoksha, realization. After acting, when you do Paroksha, after receiving, then you act, then there is some realization. So that is Aparoksha. Pratyaksha, Paroksha, Aparoksha, then Adokshaja. Then the fourth kind of knowledge is Adokshaja. That is beyond the senses. After practice of this practice and you get realization, then gradually it will lead to Bhava, ecstatic symptoms. Adokshaja. In the beginning stage, we are not able to see Ada Akshaja Gnanam, Adokshaja. With blunt eyes, blunt senses, you can't perceive anything of the transcendental subject matter. So you cannot understand, you cannot see God, so you cannot talk to Him, you cannot. The so that's why that is Adaksha. And then beyond that is Aprakrita, which is unmanifested. Just like Lord Krishna appeared simultaneously at two places, he walked into Mathura and Dwaraka, but at the same time, he's there because unmanifested. You can't see him. Lord Krishna is Shyamsundar Krishna is there, Vrindavan, unmanifested. For us, we can't see, but he's there. Even now, he's there. In Vrindavan, he's always there. So we can't see. But eternally, the 24 hours a day, the Ashtakali Lila is going on. The divide into Praharas, the 8 Praharas multiplied by 3. So that's why Prabhupada also designed the ISKCON in such a way that each Prahara, what should be done, he has given a particular process. As per the evening 2 Praharas from 9 to 3 to be used for the sleeping. Within that also people devotees even hardly like 6 course hardly slept 1.5 or 2 hours. Prabhupada also used to sleep on, but we can't imitate it. But minimum 6 hours sleep after 30 years. Minimum 6 hours. That's the practice we should come to. We should have to reduce sleep especially after 40. We should come to 6 hours of sleep only, not more, not less. So that is 2 Praharas in the night time, and then the morning Praharas must be used. Again, the mode of goodness comes 3 to all the way till 8. So, especially 3 to 6 must be utilized for reading, hearing, chanting. Even now, Sri Prabhupada disciples use the time to read or chant, sometimes for chanting, sometimes reading. Sometimes they read 2 3 hours also. So it is very important. So that's how utilize these praharas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained this how. That's why Prabhupada has designed Mangalarati. Prabhupada has designed Bhagavatam class in the morning so that those praharas are supposed to be used. That's why what is the breakfast time in a temple or to the devotees or when Prabhupada used to take 8:30 or 9. Not until then. Not until then. 8:45, 9. After these two praharas, 3 to all the way till 9 is over almost. Then only is taking. Then again he is taking at 2 o'clock. That's our breakfast and the lunch at 2. Fruits and milk and some puffed rice. That is his breakfast. Don't imitate it, that kind of breakfast. But I'm just giving example how these 24 hours, one who is in the transcendental state or one who is in the mode of goodness, at least trying to be situated in the mode of goodness, he understands which mode he is operating. Then it's very important to know. So that's why Lord Krishna is stressing. Put on mute, please. Simeza Prabhu, voice is coming. Hold on. Okay. So that's why here we have to understand this. So the dreaming state in the night, the subtle body and the daytime gross body. This is how it is working. How to come to the at least be situated, trying to be situated in mode of goodness. What activities we should perform with these nine gates. So that's why when enters, the transcendental sound enters in the association of devotees, especially when you utilize these morning praharas, utilize that Brahma Muhurta time to hear and chant. These are two things. One must do both. Chant Krishna clearly and hear. So that's why the inattention is also causing that. Also, we discussed in few classes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because three aspects of the inattention while chanting is first one is the indifference, because you have attraction for material things. It could be a TV, it could be coffee, it could be any of those, or it would be just for sleeping only. Late night sleep you are used to for 30, 40 years. What you will do? ऐसे ही स्वभाव तस्यासो दुर्तिक्रम. It's very difficult to overcome those habits. And this Pandava Yudhishthira Maharaj himself, in conversation with Narada Muni, Yudhishthira Maharaj itself, this is mentioned. It is not easy to change. That's why we have to take. You have no option but to take the association of those devotees. We have somehow overcome and come to the following in this, at least situated in the mode of goodness, at least predominantly. Sometimes there may be a mixture of modes, obviously, because we are still trying to come to the path of perfection. So by taking in the association, then it will enter into the ear holes. From ear holes, it will enter into the heart, and then it will melt the heart like heart. Then you will be able to tears roll down from eyes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining. Nayanam Gradasrudharaya Vadanam Gadgada Hridaya Pulakai Nichitam Vapu Tavanam Grane Bhavishyati. Until that it cannot happen. You have to pass over this Anartha Nivrutti stage. Then Nishta can happen, then Ruchi Asakti, then Asakti and Bhava stage only you will get this. Not ordinary tears. There are people who will get some tears, but that is not the tears we are talking about. This is at higher stage. We have to, that also to understand that you have to read and study, scrutinizing Lisa Prabhupada. Then you understand what is material tears and what is the transcendental tears. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining. Anyway, so it's similar, just like we understand now the gross body, subtle body. Same way, when Mahavishnu created, it is mentioned, so Prabhupada is making that point in the purport one of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yak karanarnava jale bhajate sma yoga sanidram saroma kopa, bija roma kopa. As he is lying down, glancing on the Mahatattva, material substance, this 26 element, then it got activated. Then that the three modes of material nature comes into picture, and then the activity started. So yes, Mahavishnu is dreaming, but his dreaming is spiritual. Our dreaming is not spiritual. During with the subtle body we are trying to enjoy, that is not spiritual. Passion and ignorance is going on. Desire to enjoy, passion, and then ignorance, laziness. So that inattention is caused by indifference to things, indifference to the holy name. We have attraction to other things, and then laziness. That is second aspect of inattention. And then the third aspect is coming from attraction for material things, especially attraction for male, female, attraction for wealth, attraction for name, fame. These three aspects which causes inattention while chanting. So you stop in the middle one round or after a few rounds and you take up, you do something else and come back. So, or middle of the round itself, you stop. So these things will be done because of these three aspects of inattention, which is caused because not having a proper enough this proper association, and also these the lower modes we have passed many lifetimes in that way. We are born with certain modes, lower modes, or it could be mode of depending on that mode. In certain family, you will be born, certain pious credits will be given. It's all because of what mode we have operated in the past life. So accordingly, you will get. So that's why Mahavishnu's dreaming stage, but it is transcendental. While dreaming, then he glanced, and then that's how this creation has happening happened. So three modes of materialization came into interaction. So that's how it came into place. Now here there are aspects. 9 aspects are mentioned. So where the 9 gates. So starting with the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, as we are um, trying to understand how to purify. And there, where Lord Krishna further speaks on this, there are 10 subjects, or 10 aspects, or 10 items to get to purify, to consider, to be situated in mode of goodness. Then you will be able to come out to transcend these modes. The first one is the 10 aspects, dravyam, material substance, and then your place, so desha, and then there's the phalam, result of activity, and then there is the time aspect. All these are they have 3 modes within each of these. So understanding and situated in the mode of goodness in all these 10 aspects: dravyam, desha, phalam, kala, gnanam, knowledge, and karma, work, karaka, performer of work, shraddha, state of consciousness, nishta, destination of death. So in this way, and food and happiness within this 10 itself, the food and happiness is also a part of that. Now you understand the place. Either you make your own, you have a deity or a picture, especially if you are not clear of all the rules, not best way to get the deities. Is best to worship. You can minimize or keep it low until you come to first chanting, developing attachment to chanting. You can do service rather in the temple. It is better to have pictures and worship them. Offer tulsi, you can offer tulsi, you can do everything with pictures also. There is no problem. When you are at a better stage, then you can have deities. But still, when you have temple deities, the important aspect is to come and see the Lord, come and worship the Lord, come and offer things to the Lord. More. Don't do elaborate cooking and things for the Lord at home. If you can do both, that's great. But if you cannot do, then you try to do either bring or personally you also be part of that cooking or whatever, either grocery, whatever you can do. So these are the aspects you have to consider. Make the place as a temple, so your home. Generally, it's a mode of goodness is forest, passion is town, so gambling house. Yeah, that is ignorance. That's what here it is explained. But in our case, we have to make our home situation as a close to as mode of goodness. Otherwise, because it's very difficult to come out of the modes we born with. So that's why if we at least make it congenial, make it the facility, make all these aspects a mode of goodness, then it becomes very helpful for us to operate on a mode of goodness. If these 10 aspects we are situated, making it more and more complex, Aneka Chapta Vibrant Mohajala Samavrita, perplexed with the network of illusion. We don't know what to do in terms of buying a home. We don't know what to do, what type of job. We don't know how to get. Yes, you can say investment. You can say all these aspects. We, if you make it more and more complicated, not being situated in the mode of goodness, then no matter how hard, that's why Krishna is making that point in third chapter, so in first 6 chapter, Krishna is making. Even for a devotee, he will be forced to engage in on these modes, 3 modes. Why? Because he has to be very clear. The goal must be clear. His thought for thinking, willing must be clear on a day-to-day basis. What is his goal? Then otherwise You want to get money, then you want to invest here, there, hundreds of places, and whether it will affect your consciousness, whether it's the right thing to do, what is the limit? What you want to attain? You want the temporary inconvenience, permanent happiness, or no, sukham atyantikam atindriyam grahyam. Krishna mentioned Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam also. You want the real happiness, not the temporary, not with the gross senses. That is not the happiness you want. That's why these nine gates are mentioned. We need to understand these goals. We need to put these 10 items into proper perspective and connect it in a right way on a day-to-day basis. This application of three modes of material, it is a day-to-day basis. It is not a one-time thing. It is a day-to-day. Everything we have to observe. We have to observe the place, first one, and then the dravyam, the material substance. Means anything. The dravya means any grocery, anything you are buying in terms of material items. So that should be also what I can offer to Lord, how I can use. Minute you go to the market, then you are thinking about, oh, how can, yes, you can think also family what they like, you can, yeah, but you can also think at least, if not every day, at least on the festival days, important days, what I can offer, what Sri Prabhupada likes, what Srimad Radharan likes, what Guru likes, what devotees like. This is the consideration we have to have. Otherwise, this dravyam will lead into just passion and ignorance. That's what. Yes, you have to. We are hungry. We will have to eat. That's fine. But which mode we are operating in, what consciousness we are doing things. That is important. That's why Krishna is making this point to Uddhav. Deja, dravyam, and the phalam, result of activity. What will be the result? Okay, you want millions of dollars, but is that the primary goal and permanent goal? If something else is going to happen, you may get millions of dollars, but if it is going to affect your consciousness and you will not be able to chant or hear or do service or attain Krishna, then you have to consider. You have to consider these points. So, what type of job? How far I should drive? How long I should spend? So, all these aspects. If we don't have these considerations and goals, what will Lord Krishna will do? As you are desiring, that's what I am going to give you. That's what you are desiring. What can be done within your limit of pious credit? That's what I will give you. Because that's what you are desiring. You cannot do more than that. If you are desiring higher than that, higher purpose, then Krishna will make facilities adjust such that you will get a job which is close by. You will get a job where you are not implicated with 24 by 7 production, where you will get a job where you are peacefully situated, where you will be able to spend time for chanting and hearing and reading. All this. Who is making that facility? Individual cannot make these facilities. You are forced to act. But Krishna will make facility based on the desires, based on the goals you have, based on the desires we have. So that accordingly Krishna is making that. So that's why result of activity we have to look at in this transcendental sense. Futuristic. We make these goals. The material goals for sure we are making. Otherwise, how will you maintain? How will you pay the mortgage? How will you pay your bills? It cannot happen. You can do that, but simultaneously we have to think of this, the important goal we have ahead of us, which is getting distracted in reality. So that's a third consideration. The fourth consideration is kala, time. Why should I wake up early in the morning? Why can't I use? I will sleep and I'll use this time for something else. No. When it is a festival Ekadasi, this is not the time to any other things. Again, it's a practice. We have to come to the. We are talking about what is a better considerations. That's what we're discussing. Don't think that if you're joining new, don't think that, oh, these many things I have to do. Forget about it. I will go back. No, that is not. You have to understand the context here. You are looking at the bigger picture, the end result. To come to that, what we are supposed to do, we have to keep this in mind and slowly and gradually change the way we operate so that the mode of goodness will be in all these 10 things. Otherwise, we'll be in this passion and ignorance only constantly will go on. So that the fourth aspect is the time. So the time also try to utilize. Ekadasi. Next, what festivals are coming up? That's why it's not that I have a lot of time with me. That's why I post, because we all have calendars, but we have to reminded of ahead of the time. What? Oh, this is coming up in next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. What I should do? There should be some thought process going on. If you don't plan, material nature is planning for us. That's what is happening. If you're not able to attend, who's planning? Material nature is planning. So because that's what we are desiring, Krishna is granting. Daivi Shakti, that's why there is Maya. The whole, that another class completely. Maya, how the internal energy, that whole Daivi Prakriti, the Aladini Shakti, Parasya Shakti, Vividhaya, the internal energy, how it is categorized. uh, Mahamaya, Yoga Maya, then you have Prodha Maya, then Guna Maya. Each of the has all these aspects. So Prabhupada's disciples explained in great detail how this Maya, what Maya means, and what are the different aspects, different energies, how it is working. So that's the three modes will work otherwise, based on our desires, the time factor. And then the Gnana, knowledge. You can take knowledge from reading yourself, but that's not the ideal way, as we just discussed. Satam Prasanga, Virya Samvido, Arthat Vidhi Pranibha. You look at Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitam, in everywhere it is clearly mentioned. It is not, self-study is not going to really transform. uh, it is not going to really transform your heart. We have to be in the association of devotees. That's why in the purport, what you see, speculation. What speculation? You have to read carefully. Philosophical speculation. It is not categorized as mental speculation. And the purport, first verse of this chapter, you read. Then you are not we are not supposed to speculate. But there is a difference. Philosophical speculation means there are various angles of vision for each and every verse of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So to anything, the kind of, using your thinking, feeling, willing to understand the words, understand the transcendental subject matter with a goal of understanding God, Lord Krishna and his devotees and his services, understanding that, using that, attaining with that goal, when you are trying to understand, thinking in that way, and different aspects, different thoughts, introspection, reflections come. That's all coming under philosophical speculation. Anything, thoughts coming, that has to be based on Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Then it is called philosophical speculation. So Prabhupada has written a letter to one of his disciples. He is explaining this in detail. He asked, "You are talking speculation, but you said in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna said in the beginning, Praja Deva Kama Sarvan Partha Manogatam, in chapter 2, verse number I think 56 or 57, when Arjuna asked, who is self-realized soul, how does he act, how does he walk, how does he talk? And then the first thing Krishna mentioned is, first thing they have to have a characteristic, reject mental speculation. They don't have their own ideas and thoughts, which is not based on scripture, which is not based on Guru's instruction, which is not based on Mahajana's instruction. That is mental speculation. So there is a clear distinction of what is mental speculation, what philosophical speculation. So that's why we have to hear, we have to read Srila Prabhupada's books, we have to hear what Srila Prabhupada has said in each and every aspect. So that's why it is very important to hear in the association of devotees, so that we get the matter right. That's why this is called knowledge. This, this is the transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, you can pick up any knowledge, you can hear internet, or you can hear from anybody, you can hear from movie stars, political star. So you can hear from anybody. So, but it's not going to lead the result transform. So transform our heart. So that's why important consideration we need to have. Then the karma, work. So work must be offered to Krishna. So that's why here these 9 gates are mentioned. Krishna could have said 6 gates. Jnanendriya is important knowledge. Forget about this Karmendra. No, Karmendra is also important, because you are bound to do the work. The whole Bhagavad Gita's purpose is to change your material activities, karma, into spiritual activities. From karma to akarma. Ordinary karma leads to pious and impious, then you come back and enjoy in this material world. You can never go to Vaikuntha. Only when you come to akarma, which is not binding, then you go to Vaikuntha. So the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita, that's why that karma with what you'll do? With your karmendriyas, your hands and legs, anus and genitals. All this, you need to have transcendent illumination, otherwise, you will use everything for passion and ignorance. We have to go even beyond goodness, because goodness is you will be happy with the knowledge. But we have to go beyond. That knowledge must be utilized for Lord. So then, otherwise, we'll go. I speak greatly, or I have a lot of knowledge. I do so many things. I have great understanding. That is also a bondage. And because if you see Sri Prabhupada or Sri Bhakti, all the acharyas, they never considered that they have great knowledge. They always considered they are the lowest. They don't know anything. Everything is coming from Supreme, his previous spiritual master. Because they are not operating in mode of, they are operating Visuddha Sattva. So that's why we are done. That is the Jnanam and the Karma work. That's why Krishna is making in the 12th chapter. Krishna is giving that choice also. You are not in pure devotion service, but you can do offer your results to me. Even if you don't come to temple, there are so many situations. Some families they can't come. Your wife is not allowing, or husband is not allowing. Or our parents are telling, don't go. You are too young. You just got married. Why do you need to go to temple? This is Kali Yuga. That's why the instructions will be like that. Then what can be done? Then okay, that's why Krishna had made that choice also. Okay, all right, you can't come, then do indirectly. Offer your service. You stay at home, do whatever, but offer some things, and you will see that. Allen Ginsberg is not a devotee. He didn't take initiation, but obviously Prabhupada's mercy is there. He would have got liberated. But in the beginning, he was not a devotee. But he is the one first harmony he got. He is the one who helped in getting even Bhagavad Gita printed. So he helped. He tried 6 months. It didn't work. Then Brahmana Prabhu tried. No, before that, one more Rai Ram Prabhu tried. It didn't work. First Bhagavad Gita. Before that, there's another point also. This whole the material nature is the way it is working. Prabhupada gives example of dictaphone. There is example connected to Bhagavad Gita printing also. The dictaphone, the material nature is working. You can't see the hand. Just like a dictaphone or recording machine, how it is working. You press a button, things are working. It is recording. But if something spoils, then you don't know how to you take it to the mechanic to fix it. So same way, this body you eat, but how it is digested and how it is transformed into different energies, we don't know. So that's what Krishna is making in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. I know directly and indirectly. That indirectly means what you don't know, I know. Even indirectly, how things are working. So the whole material nature is working just like pressing button. Lord Krishna is glancing, things are happening. Just like you press the button, recording as how it is happening. So because somebody has created that machine, they put some logic and machinery for it to record. Same way, Lord Krishna also invested his energy into this material nature. It has to work in certain way. You can imagine like a programming he has written, big program. It can float, it can do whatever he likes. That's it. So this is the consciousness. So same way, so when Prabhupada was ill, no, Prabhupada got ill 69 or so, 69 or 70. This is in New Jersey, by the way, Long Branch in New Jersey. Prabhupada got ill, then at that time, by that time, no, not many, not translated. But still, Bhagavad Gita, nothing was printed. Neither is open, nothing was printed. Then because Prabhupada is ill now, what to do? Not much books printed. We can do this? And everything is going slow. People are typing. How long you are going to type? And how you will finish this Bhagavad Gita and all these books? But that's what Prabhupada wanted. So that's when, as Prabhupada is desiring things, then a person walked in with a great caliber of typing and dictating, understanding, and all that, putting so fast. Then within 6 months, they were able to finish so much. And then in meantime, also, Gargamuni Prabhu brought this dictaphone, somehow or the other he found. Then he offered to Prabhupada. Then that even sped up the whole process. So then Prabhupada is able to complete Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, and a few other things. Very, very quickly, because Prabhupada cannot do type because he was ill, he was on the bed, but he can speak. So this off body is paralyzed. So you can see, understand how Prabhupada is looking at the result, transformative result for each and every soul. Is considering even on his bed when his body is not, helping, but still he is thinking of what will be the result, how I can produce this book. That is what my guru has told. So he is always thinking, and then because of his desire, things are happening. He's looking at the result, transcendental result. Then automatically things are happening in this way. So then he told, okay, now you have to get it printed. No Bhagavad Gita till now. Then he sent Allen Ginsberg. Then 6 months, nobody was taking. Then the next thing happened. They tried with Rai Ram Prabhu. That also didn't work. Then Brahman Prabhu, almost didn't work. Then they go. Then finally somehow or the other, Prabhupada recorded a Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that became great hit. Even Beatles also from there only they got connected. And then based on this record, then they somehow or the other, the Macmillan guys also wanted this record. They sent a letter or so. Then the Prabhupada said, okay, if they are big publishing company, so then now you go and ask them, take this manuscript and ask them. Then when Brahmananda Prabhu went and met, so then things come, yes, this is what exactly I'm looking. In our religious section, we don't have my Bhagavad Gita. We need it. We are looking for. See that. The transcendental desire, the attaining the goal, Prabhupada had, automatically things are by his previous Acharya's mercy. So this is what we have to learn from the Acharyas, how they acted, with what consciousness they acted, how we should offer our work and results, with what thought. That's why Krishna is saying, first you have to offer. It's not that I'll say, when I get a good job, when I make millions, then I will offer. No, that's not the proper consciousness. First you make a point that whatever I have, with that, within my capacity, I will do something. Now on, not after 10 years. How long you will live, we don't know. Then after 10 years, what's going to happen, who knows. First think about today, tomorrow, not after 10 years what's going to happen. That's not the proper conscious. This is not first level of Krishna conscious. So that's why this result means immediate results, and the monthly, like this we have to think. It's a proper perspective we need to have. We're almost already over time. Let me finish quickly this. Karaka, the performance of work. What does it mean? We are the performer. We have to become free of attachment. You'll work, but with what consciousness will work? So this must be free of attachment. So the in the 15th chapter also continues. Lord Krishna continues on this free of attachment. The whole last 6 chapters is mainly to come to that only, detachment. So free of attachment, the same aspect. So that's the consideration we have to think when you are performing work. So be in that conscious. The Shraddha, faith. It should be our faith should be directed towards spiritual life. We'll have faith in all other material things, but when it comes to Guru, why should I surrender? Why should I take initiation? Why should I have faith in Sri Prabhupada? Why should I have faith in deity? Why should I worship? I'm happy now. I'm happy with family and kids and job. Why do I need to do that? Then what can be done? If faith is not there, then you will be in three modes only. Daivi Esha Gunamai, Mama Maya Turate only. Insurmountable, not surmountable, insurmountable. He can't surpass these three modes. There is a complex mesh. So that is the faith we have to understand. The faith to be directed in that way. And then the avastha, the state of consciousness, which we already discussed. And then the food, the consciousness implies also what food we take. And the happiness. The happiness should be derived from the self. Self is a mode of deriving that happiness by serving devotees, by serving Krishna, by serving Guru. This is a gradual progress, but it should be the goal in this way. And then Nishta, destination after death. So what destination? Because if you don't have that goal, no, why should I? That's why sometimes the reporters ask, what is the problem with becoming a dog? Because that's what they are always playing or attached to dogs. Then they didn't care. What is the problem? Because they didn't understand what is body, what is soul, what is beyond this material life. They didn't understand. They have no idea. So that's why for them there is no difference. What does it matter? I can go on surfing. Then yes, material nature will give a fish body in the next life because that's what you are trying to enjoy. Then that's what, because with that body you can, your whole life you can be surfing only in the ocean. So that's what material is. So according to the way you work, with the what consciousness, with what goal, or what mood, then accordingly this material nature is giving. So that's how the three modes of material nature is acting. So I will stop here. Much more to say and talk on this verse. Three modes of material nature is unending topic. I will stop here. Gandhara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta ki jai.